All right, guys, so you're probably noticing I have a different background than normal, and it's because I'm actually in Rhode Island. We flew up today. We're going to be driving up to New Hampshire to ski tomorrow at this place called Pat's Peak. It's a cute little ski resort, and it's a great place for the little ones. We skied there last year with the girls, and they were learning to ski, and they've got tubing, and so it's winter break for us, and then on Tuesday, we're going to go visit downtown Boston, and so I'm excited about that. But, I love, have kids, we'll travel. That's always been our motto. I think we figured out today this will be the girls' 18th. Rhode Island is a new state for them. So this is their 18th state, and this is Hudson's 34th state. So Andy keeps up with that. Not crazy. All right, so tonight our theme is about distractions, and this is with our series that we're going to be doing on personal growth and working through, the things that we need to overcome to become the woman of excellence in this business and to be the leader. To be a leader, you got to have people following you, and you have to have a life that someone wants to emulate. Like I've said a lot, no one's going to follow a parked car. And so we want to get you moving. If you've been, blessed by God with the desire to succeed, the desire to lead, we want to get you there. And it's a journey of personal growth. So last week we talked about getting out of your comfort zone and doing all that. So, tonight is about distractions. Now, here's the deal. I don't want anybody to think that when I talk about my family, my kids, and my activity, that any of that is a distraction. Those are my whys. Those are my reasons for doing what I do. What I have to make sure is that the small things do not get in the way from me doing the things like my business that's going to keep me home, which is going to give me all the extra time and flexibility to be with my kids and to do the things with my kids. And so, it's a puzzle. It's all a piece of the puzzle. So I found a few quotes that I love. It says, you can't do big things if you're distracted by the small things. Focus comes from eliminating distractions. All right. Be so busy improving yourself that you don't have time to pay attention to anything or anyone that distracts you from your growth. All right. And we're talking about negative Nellies. We're talking about naysayers, your Debbie Downers. You guys know those people. Those people like to play it small, and when you allow those people to create your world, they always create it smaller. And you should never, ever give anybody that kind of power. So I'm going to keep going back over my notes because I have a ton of notes, and I don't want to get distracted. I want to say what I want to say. And so I wrote it out because this is a big deal for me, because over my 18-year journey in Mary Kay, it has been a season of, growing. And so, what I want to always teach you is that when you do put yourself out there, when you do work on you, and you do pray for God to give you all the things that that He needs to give you in order to be in the places that you need to be for Him to use you, it's going to take you changing. And it's a good change. You should not be afraid of the person that God's going to mold you. I'm going to talk about that more in a second. I do believe that some distractions can be from Satan, and it's his way of deterring you off, God's path. How can you strengthen, when you strengthen yourself, what I want you to do is strengthen yourself so that you recognize the distractions when they appear. And I'm going to give you some of my personal testimonies of when I saw distractions and when I knew it was from Satan, and why I felt like I was able to recognize those we'll call them red flags, because that's what it is. And sometimes, honestly, you're just in a season where you've got a lot going on, and instead of it being called a distraction, you thinking it's a distraction, that's something that you can't take away. There's, like, right now I'm going to talk about the season that I'm in. there's things that I've got to work through this. You know, like with my mom's passing, all the things that's coming with that, all the paperwork and all the life insurance policy, things like that. And then there's me closing out the training center the same week that she passed, and then me trying to get my basement remodeled to be able to meet there, and then finishing up, you know, basketball season where Hudson's team went down to the finish line and won. And now he starts, you know, the very next Monday, he starts 2 sports, tennis and baseball. All of those things are things that I somehow have to fit in my puzzle. And I remember growing up going to my pediatrician's office as a little girl, and he had that little toy. You know that little toy? I think Tupperware makes it. You've got one's a circle, you got to find the circle, put it in, then the other's a triangle. That's what this is. This is the season of life that I'm in, and I'm trying to make it all fit. But here's where most people get off track, is they forget that they have a business and that pays them, and they stop working their business. I never forgot that. I have never, ever not paid myself. So many times I see women say, oh, I've got this going on, I got this going on, I've got this going on. I have to stop Mary Kay. What? It's a business. I don't understand. You're quitting your job because you've got this going on? No. Would you quit your job, your corporate job? No. You work through it. And that's where I want to get you into the mindset of, you are the president, the CEO of $1 million business. You don't close your doors because you're dealing with stuff. Okay? It's a distraction. And it's a distraction, but it's stuff you have to deal with. Okay? And so when you are deep rooted into your why and your reason for opening your business, and it is a money-making business, I just don't understand. And there's lots of things that play into this. One, either those people weren't really paying themselves, or they just didn't have their business. They just didn't really start their business. If they didn't, they just didn't see it as a business. And I feel sorry for them, because I have never, ever not paid myself. And to not, work with and do what I need to do for my family to get the paycheck that they need, that's not who I am. And that's not I know that my family needs me. And that's why we always try to tell you, sit down with your husband, talk with your husband, figure out what it is that you can pay, that he can depend on you. Because if a woman has a reason, she's going to keep going, especially in the beginning. Once you get it going, it's a well-oiled machine, okay? It's like getting it going. You're like, oh, this business is fun. It's easy. I'm making money. You never walk away. You never lay it down. You guys heard me say on the day of my mother's memorial, I held an appointment at 1 o'clock. I had it scheduled at 3, but with all my kids' activities, when I scheduled the memorial, that was the only time at 4 o'clock that day. So I moved the appointment up to 1, went and held the double facial, got back. It was an hour away. I met my family at the memorial. Andy brought the kids dressed and everything. Why? Because I have to make money for my family. We eat, we have school tuition, we have bills. I'm self-employed. If I was a farmer, we would have had to go milk the cows that morning, no matter if my mother had passed or not. That's how farmers are. Somebody's got to milk the cow. And if you get into that mindset that, okay, life is happening, and and these are things that legitimate things that you have to deal with, you will work through them and figure out when you're working, okay? And so I will tell you, you will feel a little, discombobulated, brain fog. But when that happens, I just drink more water. I eat more supplement vitamins. I eat more salads. I try to put pure things in me. I eat a lot of walnuts so that I can focus and I don't get the brain fog until I can, get myself back to where I can focus and I get in a groove. So we've talked about, it's like the double dutch. I've talked about that before. It's like jumping in the double dutch. You know, you got one rope and you're jumping, you're doing good. Then they add another rope. Then they add the third rope, and you're like, it's going to take you a while to get going, but boom, you've got it going. That's what we want you to do. Not when things happen, you lay it down and you try to pick it back up. It's hard. You just keep going, because when you lay it down, when you say, I've got to deal with this one thing at a time, or God gets no glory out of you doing that. God gets no glory out of you failing. God gets no glory out of you playing small. He gets all the glory out of you succeeding and victorious. And he would never place you somewhere where you are not going to succeed. We fell on our own. All you have to do is stay the course, work through the distractions, work through the chaos. We are women. We can handle a lot, believe me. You know, that's why whenever I hear people talk about their, and you guys hear me say this a million times, you hear me talk about every year at seminar, whoever the queen is on stage, and, you know, she's always either battled cancer that year, been in the hospital for 7 months, you know, only using one side, in a wheelchair. All these women with dramatic, amazing stories of overcoming walk across that stage, beating us all in sales. They're like, oh, you feel like such a what's my excuse? That's why I can't listen to anybody's excuses when they say, well, whatever, you know, because I have seen women overcome way more than I've ever experienced, or anybody I know. I mean, it's just so amazing, the power of a woman when her heart is on fire. You know, and I like that when a woman comes into this business and she's hungry. She's hungry to help her family. She's hungry to, you know, to achieve. She's hungry to cross that finish line, because she will. And she will in 6 months. It's 6 months. It's a decision. Once you make your decision that you want something, whatever it is, a free car or become a sales director, is once you've made that decision, and in your heart and in your mind, it's done. It's done. It's 6 months. All that's left is for you to go do the work. I know I say that a million times, but you know, there are people, we have new people that call in that listen, and they've never heard that. It literally is 6 months. I mean, it's just a decision. Now, I've skipped over all my notes. So let me catch back up. All right. So it's life. How do I focus on work? I always say present to the moment. You guys know that's my favorite quote. That's going to be the name of my beach house or my lake house, present to the moment. If I'm doing mommy, I'm doing mommy. If I'm doing work, I'm doing work. Okay? Wherever you fit that in your blocks of time, we all have the same 24-hour in a day. Okay? We all have the same days a week. Some of us get way more done than the others. And the reason is because of your daily distractions. The little things that do not matter. We're going to talk about that in a second, okay? We're going to, you know, call it what it is, okay? So I'm not going to go into my schedule, but what I want you to do is, when your mind is a whirlwind, when you've got that brain fog, all you have to do is just trust God and get deep rooted. It's the first step to building that relationship with Him. You're going to be amazed at what He has in store if you just trust that just stay on the course. It doesn't matter how slow or fast you go. You know, sometimes steady wins the race. I didn't say slow. I said steady, consistent. You know, I've never gone out and blew everything out of the water. I started with one party a week consistently for 6 months. It replaced my corporate salary. Consistency was the key. Then I came home from corporate America, started doing 2 parties a week. Consistently, that's all I did. Within a year, earned my first car and became a sales director. Consistently. Consistency is the key. It's the key. And like I said, so many people just stop working their business and deal with the distractions, deal with the drama, instead of working through it just like you would if you were at a normal job. See it through. Let God work. Let this be a teachable moment when you're in a season where there are a lot of things added to your plate, okay? This is where you're learning to be a good manager of time. So many people, like I said, they put it down instead of learning to manage a lot of things at once. They put it down and only do one thing at a time. You can't lead anybody doing that. Let's be real. You can't lead anybody being that kind of person. And so if you are that person that keeps putting it down, picking it back up, putting it down, picking it back up, you've got to face when all these distractions come at you, you've got to be able to face it and deal with it and learn from it and grow from it, or else you will not be able to lead a unit of 200, a unit of 300. You know, that's what this process is all about. You know, when you go into qualifications to become a sales director, it's called DIQ. And that's not to see if you can manage 24 people. The qualifications are set up to see if you can handle 200 people, if you are a good manager of time. Okay, and that's what it's trying to prove. But when you can't manage your day, you can't manage your week, that is the time, that is your first priority, is you lead you first. What do I mean when I say see it through? God is molding you, okay? He put you here for a reason and for gifts. Don't miss out on the gifts because you play it safe. Fight through the distractions. Think of yourself as a piece of clay, and that's what God says, that we are clay, and He's molding us through this season that you're in where you do have all these distractions. I know that I'm learning through this season right now. And there's some other things that are, some changes in my family that are happening, and it's all coming at once. And so this was perfect for me to really study and write out my thoughts on this, because I'm in this season. If I loaded you down with everything, then you'd be like, oh my gosh, but this is the season I'm in. And I have felt like brain fog, and I've had to get back to what I know. I had to get back to what I learned through the 18 years of being able to manage myself and manage my day. And so before I'm a well-oiled machine, I've dealt with the 5 kids, got that going on. I dealt with the sports, got that going on. Never dealt with a parent death. Moving my boys out, moving my unit back into my basement. It's been 7 years since I've been in my basement. Remodeling, because when you have teenage boys in your basement, you have to remodel, and so you've got contractors coming in, you've got painters coming in, on top of moving out of a studio. I could go on and on. I just did. I mean, you guys are getting overwhelmed, just me plopping on you with my day. But so this is for me too. This is me remembering, okay, how did I manage my time when I came home from corporate America with 2 babies at home? How did I manage my time when I came home when I was home when I had my 3rd baby? How did I manage my time with the distractions of 2 baby girls on my hip and kids and kids in sports in school? How did I manage my time? I did. And so that's where I had to go back. I had to pull from my knowledge. And that's what I want you to do. Pull from the knowledge, because I've worked through it. I never laid it down. Never, ever laid it down. I couldn't. My family's always depended on this from day one. I've never, ever not paid myself. When you can work through this and you learn this about yourself and you master it, God is going to use this as part of your ministry, okay, to help others. Just so that's what leaders are. Leaders are called to lead. And so your message, your ministry. My weakness used to be money management, believe it or not. And everybody on this call will tell you, if somebody asks you, what's Michelle's strength? They'll say, oh, money management. Because I worked at it hard. Because I was terrible at it. Terrible. I actually made it all the way to becoming a sales director, not understanding how to run my money. You guys know that story. I made Andy take Ryan and Riley for a whole day. I sat in my living room with those big giant pads, those Post-it pads with a big giant marker, and I was scribbling, figuring out the money, the right way, the wrong way. That's how I came up with profit level Patty, building up Betty, embezzling Edith, and half stocked Harriet. I was determined to understand the math. So you can do everything the wrong way, but with a great attitude and get to the top. But you can do everything right with the wrong attitude and fail. Always remember that. So this is a calling that, if you've been called, if you feel like that God is calling you, and has put this, it's a calling on your life, and God's put this in your life to lead women, and you feel strongly about that, which I really do in this business. It's just like being a mom, okay? Being a leader is just like being a mom. God's given you this child for a period of time. You're the responsibility to lead them, guide them, minister to them, teach them the right way. That's what being a sales director is. And so what a great responsibility. And so that's why you have to work on you, okay? Because they are watching you. I say that a lot about my kids, is that I never wanted them to see me quit. They were watching me. They saw me fail. I needed them to see me fail, but they saw me get back up. And I always made sure that my kids failed in my home so I could show them how to get back up. I purposely took Ryan to a college soccer tryout at a Division II school, knowing that he would not make it, because I needed that 2-hour, I'm gonna start crying. I needed that 2-hour ride back home with him so I could help him and show him how to get back up. And so how did I know that? Because I've helped many of you get back up. God taught me that. And so that's what being a leader is all about. Mary Kay always said, take God as your partner. And that's how she modeled this entire company. God first, family second, career third. Take God as your partner. And you cannot ever, ever go wrong. And I always say, when this is your calling and this is your ministry, you can say no to those causes that are good causes that are not your cause. I cannot tell you how many times I said no at our new church. No, no, no. I have a calling, I have a ministry, and I have no doubt that I am doing God's work. My heart is full, paycheck of the heart, with my Mary Kay business and the work that I do at our Christian school. And so you can be okay with saying no at your church if you are fulfilling your calling in your Mary Kay business and ministering to the people that God places at that kitchen table. Okay. God has given me a task list, and I'm deep rooted in it. God has given you a task list, and that is becoming a woman of excellence, to lead other women and to work on those things that we're not excellent at, to master those things. You will not be shaken when you are deep rooted in Scripture, when you're deep rooted with your vision of what He's given you for this business, when you're deep rooted with who you are. People will try to shake you. You will not have all good days. You will not have all good appointments. But when you're deep rooted and you know without a doubt that this is what you were called to do, you don't even have to always know the big picture. I just came in for a minivan payment. That's what I thought I was coming in for. And boy, could I not see very far down the road. I mean, really, some of us would run away if we, 5 kids and I'm going to go to China. I don't ever want to leave the country. I don't like to fly. That's what I would have told you 18 years ago. But here, I was on a 24-hour flight to China with a 13-month-old going to get a 21-month-old. What was I thinking? God only shows you. You go as far as you can see, and then you'll see farther. You just trust. You just walk blindly in faith, taking those steps, baby steps, okay? Satan, and here's another thing, Satan will always come at you with guns blazing, all guns blazing, when you're in God's will. But when you're, like I said, when you're deep rooted in Scripture, you're deep rooted in your vision, you're deep rooted in your calling, you will not be shaken. And that's why, as sales directors, me, Mary, and Trinity are so passionate about making sure that we help you with this personal growth journey. When you are in God's will, stay firm, prayed up, trust, and believe. The biggest distraction that I had early on probably could have cost me everything. It was April 1st. I had mailed in I set at the driveway I prayed over my commitment card to mail in to become a sales director. Back then, if you wanted to be a sales director, you had to request a little card. You checked off the boxes. I want to go into qualifications. I have my 8 team members. I'm personally active, blah, blah, blah. You sign the commitment card, put a stamp on it, and you mail it. I sat at my driveway. I prayed over the card. I got out of my car and mailed it. And I pulled in, got the kids out. I know I got in the house, got the kids out, sat on my sofa, and the phone rang. And it was my old boss calling. They had moved our office beside a daycare, and she wanted me to come back, and she was giving me $70,000 a year, a $20,000 pay raise from what I'd left just a year and a half ago, or a year ago, because let's see, it was June of 2001 that I walked away. Here it was April of 2002. So it wasn't even a year. And I did not even think twice. I said, no, I'm really happy here at home. I'm loving my Mary Kay business. I'm about to be a sales director. And the first thought that came to my mind when she said that was, I thought, 70,000 is nothing compared to what I can do in Mary Kay. And it wasn't always about the money. It was about, I have found a mission field, and that it was the paycheck of the heart was fulfilling everything that as a woman that I was missing, everything. I was confident now. I cared about people. I wasn't a nasty, bitter person anymore. I was becoming a great mom. What if I had said, I'll take that paycheck. I'll take that corporate America paycheck. Well, I'll tell you, 5 years later, the real estate market crumbled. I wouldn't have had Hudson because we couldn't afford any more kids in daycare. Wouldn't have had Hudson, wouldn't have even fathomed, and I wouldn't have been spiritually mature enough to understand the calling on my life to adopt an orphan from China. And so when you don't open these little gifts, you miss out on greater gifts. And so you've got to trust God in the little things. When He can trust you with the little things, such as ordering a starter kit, a $100 starter kit, then He's going to start presenting you with the gifts of bigger and better things, of ways that He can use you, because it's all about Him. It's all about Him using you. And so that could have been my biggest distraction, was always having that over my head that I could go back. But I never thought about it. I never gave it a second thought. And so I knew right away, because I had grown spiritually, that I knew that all that was Satan coming at me with the guaranteed paycheck. I knew what it was. I recognized it. And if you are not spiritually mature, you will not recognize those little temptations that Satan will come at you with. And so that is why it's so important that you take that time to spend with the Lord and grow spiritually. Live out loud. Take risks so that God can give you a story to tell. When you do your daily time with Him, a lot of people I found, and I was like this, I grew up on King James, and I never could understand it. And it wasn't until I started realizing that there are other versions, and that other versions I can understand. And, theologians will argue back and forth, this version's bad, this version. But if I can understand it and I can learn from it, go out and try a different version of the Bible, like NIV or the New American Standard. If you can't understand King James, research it. Tori was so awesome. The other day, she called me. She's like, hey, what's the difference? And Andy's such a theologian. I'm like, I do NIV. And I asked him about NIV, and he's like, well, lately NIV's been changing some words. I'm like, well, I still like my NIV, but we gave some recommendations for Tori. But I was so proud of her for seeking out a better version that she could understand. And so that's my Bible tip for you today. Believe and hold tight to the scripture. It will get you through anything. Those are God's promises to us. Don't fear Satan. God's got this for you. I always joke, if you read the back of the Bible, we win. We win. That's what you have to trust in. Get on your face sometimes and pray. When I need to cry out to the Lord during my weak times, it is a peaceful place. Just me on my face, just praising God sometimes, just thanking Him or crying out because, I need strength. I need guidance. This business will always call you to be a woman of excellence, and it will call you out of your comfort zone. You need God-sized strength for that, and that only comes from God. Trust that God has you on this path. He has given you a desire to achieve great things, and don't be ashamed of that calling. To much is given, much is required. And so if God has given you a calling of leadership and a desire to be the best you, He's going to use you for bigger and better things versus the people who won't get out of their comfort zone. And that's an exciting thing. Don't be afraid of that challenge. Trust the vision that He gave you. I'm not going to go into all my vision that He gave me as a consultant. But I'm watching it's coming to fruition. I've seen it. Your visions are real. If you see yourself crossing that finishing line, your brain doesn't know the difference between a dream and a reality, and it will go to work to make it happen. That's the Holy Spirit. That is the Holy Spirit. I'm not going to take anything away from God and what His plan is, but that is the Holy Spirit. Pray that He gives you the glimpse of greatness, and hold tight to that vision. Hold tight to that vision during the dark times. You're gonna have good times and bad times, but always remember how you feel in the light, not how you feel in the dark. I'm gonna kind of share a story about during a hard time in my business. It wasn't even a hard time in my business. It was a hard time in my family, and God taught me one of the greatest lessons through this journey or through this season. Andy had taken a $2,000 a month bring home pay cut. It was 2006. I was 9 months pregnant with Hudson. And we had to really shrink our budget down. Of course, you guys know the story about me going to work, adding an extra party, putting Hudson in my little carrier. The older boy stayed home with Andy because he was going to school full-time, working third shift day with rotating days off, going to school full-time. And he was obsessed with getting A's. And so I could leave the boys, they were 5 and 7, leave them home while he studied or slept because he was on third shift. I put the brand new baby in a pouch, and we picked up one extra skincare class a week. And then within a month, I made up the difference. Within 6 months, I brought home an extra $20,000. Okay. But that's not what I wanted to tell you about. What I wanted to tell you about is I had a distraction of shopping. I loved to shop back then. Loved to shop. And it wasn't discount shopping. I love to shop, and I committed to fasting from shopping for a year because I would be down and I would go shop. This is emotional business, and that's how I dealt with it, almost like an addict. I would get down, and if I had a bad appointment, I'd go shop. If I had a good appointment, I'd go shop. And so I fasted from shopping for an entire year. I only got one pair of shoes, and it's because my black pumps that I wore with my director suit, the heel came off. I got one pair of black pumps. I didn't buy anything for my house. I didn't buy any new clothes. Grocery shopping was all we did for 1 year. When I felt the need, I prayed. And God taught me the meaning of the scripture. When you taste the living waters, you'll never thirst again. That's what that scripture means to me. I don't need those things to make me feel good. I learned to rely on God during those times, those depression times, those distracted times. I dug into the Bible, and I didn't need to go shop for a high. And so that is how I was able to overcome that distraction, the distractions of and focus on my business to grow it, to make up for that pay cut. And so, you can't always talk about your storm when you're in your storm, but you're in that storm so God can use you to minister to other people. Okay. Almost finished, I think. How I prioritize my time. I know we're 4 minutes over, but I just want to talk about this quickly, how I prioritize my time when I was working, had Mary Beth, and trying to do the adoption paperwork. That was probably a really distracting time for me because I knew I had all this paperwork to get. I knew I had all this paperwork to get done, but I also had to work my business. And so what I did was I would work my business Monday, and when I say work my business during the day, it was like doing, interviews with new consultants and things like that. But I also had to get, the paperwork was like 4 pounds. And I can't even go into all the things that I had to get done. But I would do Mary Kay Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I would do my adoption paperwork Tuesday, Thursday. And so that is the formula that I do with our sports and with everything else we do. If the sports are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I work Wednesday night and I do 2 appointments on Sunday. If I wanted, I could do, I've got 3 slots that I could hold 3 parties, but I'm just going to hold 2 parties. I've got 3 different areas, and that's how I do it. You've got to master your calendar. Do the first things first. Mommy stuff is important. You have to do that kind of stuff. Prioritize your work day and your schedule. Focus on the smaller parts of your work, like booking. Booking has to be done or you will not have any appointments. That's the small task. Visualize yourself working. Control your internal distractions. Set up your day the night before. We talk about this. Mary Kay taught this to us. Do your 6 most important things to do list every single night. It releases your brain. You get to sleep. You have a comfortable sleep, and your brain's not working to help you remember what you got to do when you get up. You write it down. You put it on your counter, or whatever way that you keep up with what you have to do the day before or the next day, and you wake up and you're ready to go. Do most difficult things first. It's called in your strength zone. If you try to do the hard stuff when you're tired, you're not going to do them. My strength zone is in the morning, so I get all my hard stuff. What's hard? Booking. Okay, booking. If that's your hard thing, that's the thing that scares you the most. Book in the morning. Okay. Eliminate distraction and time wasted, like social media. You guys know how I feel about that. Keep your energy up. What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you putting in your body? If you're tired all the time, stop the energy drink. Stop the sodas. Drink water. 50% of your weight in ounces will give you so much energy of water. Eat healthy stuff, your salads. Google, if you've got brain fog, which I did in the last 2 weeks, walnuts, all kinds of things with omega-3, omega-6, all those things help you with those things. Google what your body, listen to your body and work on you. Get that energy level up, because when you feel energetic, you sound energetic over the phone, you're going to get more bookings, okay? If you sound like you need an energy drink and you're not fun and energy giving, people may not book with you. Have a constant reminder of your goals all over your house. Your family's going to think you're crazy, but it will keep them in front of you so you don't forget why you're doing this. Maybe it's a family trip to Disney. Maybe it's, whatever. Wrap your kids around your goal and give them something when you finish. They got a goal, you've got a goal, and it keeps you accountable. Also, get a power partner, but not a Me Too sister. Okay? What is a Me Too sister? I didn't have any appointments this week. Me neither. Me too. I didn't get any sales. Me too. No, you get a power partner that is going to keep you accountable. And you call her and say, I don't have any bookings. She hangs up on you. Don't call me back until you have a booking. All right? Go get a tough power partner. She will keep you on track too. Stop procrastinating. Mary Kay said, be a part of the Den Club. So the Den Club. Do it now, do it now, do it now. Focus on the basics. The rest will come. What's the basics? Bookings. Bookings is the lifeline of your business. When you fall down, you get back up. What is that called? BBA, bounce back ability. And then what else? Oh, distractions. Marianne, do you want to add a few things? Because you have 5 kids, and I know you get distracted. How do you overcome it? And I promise we'll let you go after this. I just want Marianne to add some things. Oh, she muted out.
Okay, sorry about that. Since I'm at home with the 3 little ones, the first year that I was home full time, I had Morgan as a year old. And so that was easy. You know, she would nap twice a day. She would play quietly. She'd go on appointments with me, deliveries with me. That was so easy. And then when I realized when Aiden started moving around, like it was hard. I felt like I could never, ever work. And so that's when I realized I had to shift. I needed more help. Like I really, you know, I couldn't work with them running around and stuff. And then 3 came along and I felt like I was Superwoman. I was like, I can still do this, but no, I needed more help. And so that's when you have to, you know, realize that you can't do everything. You've got to get help. You know, if they don't take naps at the same time, you got to do something else. So now I have a sitter on Tuesdays and Thursdays when Morgan's at school. And, you know, I get to work twice in the morning, and then I also have a sitter on Fridays. And then my husband sometimes is home in the evenings, and so he does his fatherly job. My kids now I tell them, you know, they're like, who's going to babysit us? I'm like, your father's going to be here. He's going to father. And so now they say it. They're like, Daddy's going to father us tonight. He fathers great all the time. So, so, and yes, having that, my schedule the night before is huge. It makes me so mad when I don't do it the night before, and then I'm wasting the next day planning the day. Because I know better, and it makes me so mad when I do that. Or like if we didn't run the dishwasher, and so now the breakfast dishes can't go in the dishwasher and get off the counters because there's clean dishes in there, you know, so I have to unload it. That's someone else's job. And so big thing for me is resetting the day. Like if stuff is like isn't tidied up, or you don't have your clothes picked out for the next day, why would you take yesterday's problems into today? You don't have time for that. You only have time for today. So like finish yesterday. So to this weekend, like we just cleaned the house today. It is beautiful. I'm so excited. So when the kids play, it's going to be easy for me to manage teaching them, okay, let's clean up, because it's not going to be hard. It's going to be clear for them to see. Like when it's chaotic, it's hard, it's stressful. So we do have to manage well, and I have to teach my family how to manage well if they don't want to. So I know that was everywhere, but that's me right now.
That's awesome. I love I love that. All right, and you do sound like you're sick, Marianne. All right, guys, sorry we're late. You guys know I hate running late, but I had 10 pages of notes, and I hope it was beneficial for you as we continue for the next couple weeks on this journey of personal growth. And we would love to hear your feedback. If you've got some great tips tonight, even talk to your director about what your distractions are. What are some of your issues so that we can help you through this? We've been here. We're living it. We're living out loud, and that's what we're here to help you with. So thank you for being on tonight. This is recorded, so if you want to watch it again, it'll be on YouTube in just a few minutes. And my kids are doing so good. You know, we're in a hotel room, and they just came in from swimming, and they're so trained. They walked in, and they're not saying anything, and they're excited. They're going to go skiing tomorrow in New Hampshire. So we will see you guys later. Have a good week. Bye.